Hi, everybody. Captain Lou here with another Extravagant Few Minutes live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube and, of course, on our Facebook page, which is the Captain Lou Extravaganza, and on X at the Real Captain Lou. We invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the Captain Lou Sports Network. You get all of our great programming live and archived, the Extravagant Few Minutes episodes, the Extravaganza with yours truly, and, of course, my tag team partner, Mitch Bernstein. We're going to have a live episode this Tuesday night, special date, 7 o'clock, as we preview the quarterfinals of the college football playoff. 4 big matchups Wednesday night and Thursday on New Year's Day. We're going to get you set for those. 7 o'clock Tuesday, right here on the Captain Lou Sports Network and the Facebook page, the whole bit. And don't forget, too, the 10th season of the ACHA Power Play is going on. The Road to St. Louis 2026 is stepping up starting in January. As the sprint portion of the schedule gets here, we're going to be only 2 months away from puck drop of the 2026 ACHA National Championships, and we're going to give you complete coverage right here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. This Extravagant Few Minutes episode, as all of our shows on the network, are brought to you by the exclusive secondary market of the Captain Lou Sports Network, and that is SeatGeek. Use the promo code Captain Lou and you get $20 off of your purchase. It's that simple. If there's a game you want to go to, 8 bowl games on tap today in the college football world. Go to SeatGeek. Use the promo code Captain Lou. NHL, NBA, a big matchup in the NHL tonight. The 2 top teams in the Eastern Conference, the Red Wings and the Hurricanes. Go to SeatGeek. Use the promo code Captain Lou and you will get $20 off of your purchase. All right. It's official. Kyle Whittingham is the new head coach at the University of Michigan. He signs a 5-year deal. The 66-year-old comes to Michigan after 21 years as the head man at the University of Utah. He brings discipline. He brings a winning attitude. He's won a lot of games there, 177 and 68 at Utah. Just what Michigan needs as they try to get past the latest debacle at the University of Michigan Athletic Department, and that, of course, Sharon Moore. With that being said, will this hire of Kyle Whittingham at Michigan be enough to save embattled athletic director Ward Manuel and his job? It seems like he comes out smelling like a rose, especially after that debacle that was Juwan Howard, all the mess that surrounded him. Manuel let a lot of things slide with him, and he was able to get Dusty May in as a head coach, and so far it has proved to really be a good look for the Michigan Wolverines as they're ranked 2nd in the country. Now Whittingham comes in, replacing the disgraced Sharon Moore. Ward Manuel was front and center with that. Sounds like he let some things get away. Now, could this be the hire that saves him as athletic director? Still a lot of the investigation going on at Michigan with everything that went down with Sharon Moore internally. But if this hire proves to be a home run, a lot of people think it might be. Could this be enough to keep Ward Manuel's position as athletic director at the University of Michigan? We'll have to wait and see on that. All right, what's next now in the world of college football? We talked about it. We've got 8 games on the docket today in college football as far as the bowl games go. Coming up at noon, an interesting matchup between 2 big names, if you will, in the world of college football. Penn State and Clemson are in the Pinstripe Bowl in New York City. Yeah, I know it's not really where you thought they would be. Who would have thought that they would have fallen to this point where Penn State, who was ranked 2nd in the country at the beginning of the year, and Clemson, always a perennial college football championship program, they've fallen now to playing in the Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium in New York at 12 o'clock, highlighting what you might call 8 games in the world of college football today. Georgia Tech and BYU are going to be doing battle as well in the Pop-Tarts Bowl today. That's probably the marquee matchup, but 8 games on the docket today. If you're a college football fan, you're in nirvana, that's for sure. Speaking of football, let's go to the NFL. We've got 2 big matchups today of NFL playoff consequence, if you will. In the opening game, it's going to be Houston at LA to take on the Chargers. Both those teams are battling really for playoff position and potentially a division championship. Houston has been on a roll as of late. Their defense, one of the top defenses in the country right now. I wouldn't want to play the Texans right now. And the Chargers, they're looking to potentially overtake the Denver Broncos in the AFC West, although I don't think that's going to happen. So these two teams battling it out for playoff positions. Both are going to be in the playoffs in the AFC, but a big matchup there. And in the nightcap, Baltimore looking to try to keep their playoff hopes alive. They're going to Lambeau tonight to take on the Packers. Jordan Love is out tonight as the quarterback for the Packers in concussion protocol. Malik Willis is going to get the start. Some think that might be a better thing for the Packers, although he's banged up. And as far as the Ravens, Lamar Jackson doubtful tonight for the Ravens. So it could be Huntley in at quarterback for the Ravens. Ravens battling for their playoff lives. Sunday's schedule, yeah, it's pretty weak. The nightcap is going to be the big one. Chicago at San Francisco. I know there's another couple of games with playoff teams, but this one really has a lot of juice on it for Sunday Night Football. Chicago and San Francisco, both with visions of potentially getting the number one seed in the NFC. San Francisco probably with a better chance. Should they win tonight, that would set up a showdown next week with Seattle for potentially that number one seed in the NFC. It is so wide open right now in the NFL. Green Bay, it's a big win for them because they could still climb out of the number 7 seed. If the Rams stumble, they could be the 7th seed. So, yeah, there's a lot at stake, including this one. Chicago win this one. They win the division, and they get probably the number 2 seed with a home game or two in the playoffs. San Francisco needs this win to keep pace to potentially get in the talk for a divisional championship and the number 1 seed. So a lot at stake in that one. But other than that, a pretty weak Sunday in the NFL. The early games look like a bunch of yawners. So if there's some shows you want to binge watch, maybe Landman or whatever, tomorrow afternoon would be the day to do it, especially here in the state of Michigan. As, of course, our Lions now are out of the playoff hunt. What do you do as Lion fans now? What do you do to pass the time away? Who are you going to root for now in the playoffs? Are you going to root for the Bears or, heaven forbid, the Packers? Are you going to watch the playoffs? I know I will. I'm a football fan. Obviously, I'm going to be front and center. But this is going to be a different offseason. The Lions have had a taste of success in the last few years, going to the playoffs, winning a couple of playoff games a couple of years ago. Of course, last year, getting the number 1 seed. Now, the talk in Detroit is, what are we going to do to get back on track? Dan Campbell said, obviously, there's going to be a lot of tough decisions to be made in the offseason. First things first, probably a new offensive coordinator. Not so much a defensive coordinator. I thought they played okay last week. They played all right, but their offense leaving a lot to be desired, especially in the second half of these games. Then they're going to have to look at retooling in the draft and free agency. We talked about it yesterday. Brad Holmes is on the clock right now. I think the honeymoon is over for Brad in Detroit. We talked about it yesterday, but now it's really on him to try to help get Detroit back on track. Detroit's more than likely going to get a 4th place schedule, so that will help them get back on the winning track a little bit next year. But they've got some work ahead of them. Chicago's on the rise, obviously. Green Bay's not going anywhere. So those two teams are going to have to battle with. And who knows with Minnesota, with J.J. McCarthy. Is he going to be the answer in Minnesota? Can he stay healthy? So many questions there. But a lot of questions in Detroit that we're going to take part in throughout the year in the offseason for the Lions. But as a Lion fan right now, what are you going to do now that the Lions are officially out of the playoffs? Are you going to watch the playoffs? Are you going to watch the games next week? Are you even going to watch Detroit at Chicago on Sunday? I know I'll tune it in because I'm a diehard, but it's definitely going to be a different watch. We've had that taste of success. Now that they're back to where they were before Dan Campbell got them on that roll with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, this is going to be a different time for the Lions fans this year. Hopefully it's not something that we have to get used to. Hopefully it's just a one-year thing. The base talent's in place to get them healthy and get some help on the offensive and defensive line. Max Crosby, are you out there? Maybe they could trade for him. Who knows? So we'll keep that in the loop as the Lions now face a very, very, very interesting offseason. All right, let's go to the National Hockey League. Tonight, we've got a marquee matchup in Carolina between the top two teams in the NHL and the Eastern Conference. The Carolina Hurricanes, not much of a surprise there being on top, and the Detroit Red Wings right now in first place in the Atlantic Division. I know the Canadiens have a game in hand on Detroit. A lot of the teams still have a couple of games in hand on Detroit. Both the Hurricanes and the Red Wings are at 47 points in the Eastern Conference. Carolina with a couple of games in hand on the Red Wings, but the Red Wings coming in with a 3-game winning streak. The Hurricanes with a 3-game losing streak. It's at Carolina. So this is going to be a fun matchup tonight for the Red Wings. It's fun to see them in first place, obviously, as Todd McClellan's got them playing very good right now. John Gibson in net. I think he's won like 8 straight for the Red Wings in net. I think he's going to get the call in net for the Red Wings. It's the first of 2 back-to-back for the Red Wings coming up. They're going to play tomorrow afternoon, or tomorrow night rather, in Detroit against the Maple Leafs. So 2 big matchups for the Red Wings this weekend, back-to-back. Tonight in Carolina against the first-place Hurricanes, and then in Detroit tomorrow against the last-place Toronto Maple Leafs. And that's, again, another thing that is crazy to say as we take a quick peek at the NHL standings, and you look at that. Who would have thought that at this point that the Toronto Maple Leafs would be in last place? But here's an interesting statistic right here for NHL standings. In the Eastern Conference, there is no team right now with a losing record. All the teams are at least 500 or above. The Blue Jackets of Columbus are in last place in the Metropolitan Division, 15-15-6. While in the Atlantic Division, the Maple Leafs, as we said, they're 16-15-5. They're at 37 points, 10 points behind the Red Wings. So the difference between first place and last place is minimal here as we approach. We're getting close to the halfway point of the NHL season. Detroit with 38 games played, still quite a few games left, but they're in first place right now, 9 games over 500 at 22-13-3. And then the Western Conference, the Avalanche are still just running away with it all, 27-2-7 in 36 games played, 61 points, 5 points ahead of the Dallas Stars, who are at 25-7-6, and the Minnesota Wild are at 22-10-6. The crazy thing, that obviously is the best division in all the National Hockey League. Any one of those 3 teams would be in first place in any other division in the National Hockey League, that being the Minnesota Wild, even 12 games over 500 with 50 points through 38 games. In Vegas, right now, a 3-way tie with Anaheim and Edmonton for first place in the Pacific Division in the NHL. So finally, this morning, I want to talk a little bit about this. Baylor has signed a former NBA player. I can't remember his name. I couldn't even pronounce it if I tried. He was in the 2023 NBA draft, I believe, and he's with the Charlotte Hornets. Well, now he has signed back. He's eligible back to play, supposedly, with the NCAA with Baylor, and he's going to start playing immediately. This is not a good look for the NCAA. This is definitely a black eye. Where are we going in the world of college basketball or the NCAA in general? I think Tom Crean, former head coach in Indiana and at Georgia, really hit the nail on the head when he said the day is coming right now where you're going to see 2-way contracts with the NCAA and the NBA, where these players can bounce back and forth depending on who's going to offer them the most money. We're going to see a bidding war pretty quick in NCAA and NBA for talent. What is this world of college basketball coming to, or NCAA sports in general? You're going to see bidding wars in the NFL now. Quarterbacks are going to stay in college because they're going to make more money than they're going to be in the NFL. Not just quarterbacks, anybody in the NFL. They're going to look at it now and say, goodness, I can make $5 million, $10 million in 1 year playing college football. I can make that in the NBA right now. Or I'm sorry, in college basketball right now. Why would I want to go to the NBA for a limited contract? Is there anything that can be done in the world of college basketball with this signing? Baylor signing that former Charlotte Hornet player. Now he's going to be immediately eligible. I think he's got 3 years of eligibility left. So what happens if he plays 1 year at Baylor, 1 semester, goes back to the NBA, then let's say in a year from now decides, oh, I want to go play for Kentucky or Michigan State or whoever. Now, I know Tom Izzo wouldn't do this, but again, as Tom Crean said, great quote from him, the day's coming where we're going to get two-way contracts with the NBA and with NCAA, and they're going to go to whoever pays the most money. This isn't going away anytime soon. This is another black eye for college sports. The college basketball landscape is an absolute mess right now. Tom Izzo also said it. He said it best too. It's driving all the good coaches out, and it has. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's say if they make a run, does Michigan State to the finals or to, I don't know, to the Final Four? I wouldn't be surprised if he finally says, I've had enough. Obviously, he does it for the love of the game. But it's ugly right now in college sports. And there's no such thing as a student athlete in major college sports. And I don't know if that's ever coming back. Let's just call it what it is. College sports now is a minor league to the pros. And in some cases, they're making more money than the pros are. Look at women's college basketball. You know, they're making millions of dollars there. They go to the WNBA and they're not even making $100,000. Yeah, it's ugly out there. And I don't know what the answer is. So, all right, that's going to do it. As we mentioned, 8 games on the docket for college basketball, for college football with the bowl season, kicking off with Clemson and Penn State in the Pinstripe Bowl. Yeah, can't wait for that. And, of course, the big game in the NHL tonight, the Red Wings and the Hurricanes. Hope you enjoy that as well. And we've got 2 NFL games, as it's going to be the Packers hosting the Ravens, and it's going to be, I already forgot about it, the Chargers hosting the Houston Texans. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Extravagant Few Minutes here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. Want to thank everybody for joining us here on the network, live on your iPhones, your computers, however you watched us around the world here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be safe out there. Enjoy the games. And as always, Captain Lou saying, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving. And as always, keep your minds open.